to call this meeting to order. It is October 18th, 6:03. I hereby call this meeting the Howell Township Council meeting to order. Good golly. Opening statement, please.
This meeting is being held in accordance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice has been provided by transmitting the notice of this meeting to the Asbury Park Press, the Tri-Town News, and the Star Ledger by posting it on the bulletin board reserved for such announcements in the Township Municipal Building and by filing it with the Municipal Clerk on January 11th, 2022. This agenda is complete to the extent known, and formal action will be taken.
There's feedback somewhere.
I'm hearing it, so if you gotta mute your computer, I think it's coming from you.
Hello?
Much better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Bonovich.
Present.
Councilwoman Brennan will be a little bit late this evening. Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Richmond.
Present.
Mayor Berger.
Present. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and have a moment of silence for all of our fallen heroes? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Clark, is there any reason to go into executive session this evening?
Yes, there is, Mayor. We're going to discuss some of the things that are covered by attorney-client privilege, the real estate exemption, and one or two other matters that fall under contracts.
Okay, may I have a motion to go into executive?
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Councilman Bonovich.
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond.
Yes.
Mayor Berger.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. We would like to call this meeting to order. It is 7:10, October 18, Thursday. And I would like to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence for our fallen heroes.
I pledge allegiance to
Thank you. I would like to swear in the officers this evening, so Chief Starro and Council, if you please come to the front so that we can swear in.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm Chief Starr with the Howell Township Police Department. Tonight, we're going to be swearing in 5 new full-time officers and 1 special law enforcement officer, 2, and then we're going to have 2 promotions right after that. So first up is going to be Special Law Enforcement Officer Eric Lee. Please come to the front. So I'll say a little blurb about him. Yeah. So Special Officer Eric Lee is a lifelong Howell resident who attended schools within the district and found a place within Colts Neck High School's ROTC program. Here he was instilled with the motivation and discipline that he continues to rely on today. Upon graduating high school, Eric entered the Marine Corps Reserves and currently holds the rank of corporal. He started his law enforcement journey with the Belmar Police Department, while also earning an associate's degree in criminal justice. Eric comes to the Howell Township Police Department eager to serve his community. Welcome, Eric.
I
Eric Lee,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
perform
all the duties
all the duties
of a SLEO-2
of a SLEO-2
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same,
to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Darrell Hastings, please come forward. Darrell is currently 22 years old and has lived in Howell for the last 20 years. His interest in law enforcement began when he was 14 years old when he joined the Howell Police Explorers. He became a SLEO 1 with Seagirt Police Department and then went to become a SLEO 1 with Howell and soon after a SLEO 2. He graduated from Manalapan High School from the Law and Public Safety program and obtained his associate's degree in Homeland Security. He is also completing his last semester at New Jersey City University to obtain his bachelor's degree in national security. Welcome.
I
Darrell Hastings,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of police officer
perform all the duties of a police officer
to the best of my
to
ability,
the best of my ability,
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people, so help me God.
under the authority of the people, so help me God. Thank you.
Alex Nastasi, come up. Alex served in the United States Army as an infantryman before starting his law enforcement career as a SLEO 2 in Wildwood. Shortly after, Alex joined the Howell Township Police Department, where he was patrolman for 5 years. During his time there, Alex earned his bachelor's degree in Homeland Security from St. John's University while also winning the Mothers Against Drunk Driving Award in 2019, 2020, and 2021. Alex is looking forward to serving the community in which he resides in with his wife and daughter. Welcome.
Alex Nastasi,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of police officer
perform all the duties of police
to
officer
the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people, so help me God.
under the authority of the people, so help me God. Thank you.
Julian Campo, come up. Julian is 30 years old and a Cranford High School graduate. He has a bachelor's in psychology from Montclair State University. Julian transferred from Elizabeth Police Department, where he was a patrolman. Welcome.
I
Julie Campo,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of police officer to the best of my ability, and that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people. So help me God.
So help me God.
Brandon Rollo, please come up. At age 17, Brandon enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, and after multiple deployments around the world, was honorably discharged at the rank of sergeant. Upon completion of his service, he went on to earn a Bachelor's of Science degree in National Security Studies at New Jersey City University, after which, in 2017, he was sworn into the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office. Now he has the honor and privilege to be part of the Howell Township Police Department. Welcome aboard.
Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of police officer to the best of my ability, and that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people. So help me God.
So help me God.
All right, Luke Wietrowski, come on up. Luke is a 21-year-old resident of Little Egg Harbor and a graduate of the Pinelands Regional High School in 2019. He's currently working towards a bachelor's degree in psychology from California Coast University. He previously worked as a SLEO 2 in Seaside Park and Little Egg Harbor. Welcome aboard.
I
Luke Wojciechowski,
do solemnly swear
that
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
and justly perform all the duties of police officer to the best of my ability, and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and
and to the governments established in the United States
to the governments established in the United States
and in this state
under the authority of the people.
so help me God.
So help me God. Thank you.
So that's it for our new hires. The next up, we have two promotions that happened recently. I'd like to call up Paul Mazzio. Paul has been a police officer since 2002 and was promoted to sergeant in 2015. Since 2017, he has directly supervised our school resources unit, traffic safety unit, and our Class 1 and Class 3 special law enforcement officers. He is also our municipal counterterrorism coordinator and serves on the Howell Township Local Emergency Planning Committee and the Howell Alliance. Paul has a Master's of Administration of Science degree from Fairleigh Dickinson University and has completed numerous courses in the emergency services field. Paul is a rescue manager with New Jersey Task Force 1, FEMA, and also serves as chief officer with the Laurelton Fire Company and Brick Township Technical Rescue Team. Is that it? He's here. Yeah. He's here tonight with his wife Lorraine and his son PJ and daughter Ainsley. Welcome.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
and justly
perform all the duties of lieutenant
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability.
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
And that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Paul was promoted to the rank of lieutenant, if I didn't mention that before. He's going to be lieutenant in the administration division. Next up is John Yergel. John was a lieutenant. He's now promoted to the rank of captain. John has been a police officer since 1995. He began his career in Seaside Heights as a SLEO 1 and 2, and in 1997 he was hired by the Montclair Township Police Department, where he spent 3 years as a patrol officer. John was hired in Howell in 2000. He spent 2 years in the patrol division before being assigned in 2002 as a first school resource officer in Howell High School. He was promoted to sergeant in 2003, where he served as patrol supervisor, drug recognition expert, and accreditation manager. He was promoted to lieutenant in 2017, where he served as the internal affairs officer. John has a bachelor's degree from the University of Tennessee in economics and political science. Go Vols, right? No, I'm just saying. John is married and has 4 children. He is here tonight with his wife, Nuala. Welcome, John. Congrats.
John Yergel,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of captain
perform all the duties of captain
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same
and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I would imagine now we're going to take a break, but if any family members who want to come up and take pictures with your officers now, and you could also take pictures with the council people up front here. Come on up, let's do it now. Get it done. Let's get one big group shot before everybody breaks up into individual families. One big group shot, guys, all the new hires and the promotions. Let's come on up.
They have to get signed. So the vote did get signed. And oh, okay. Sure. Okay. Look up on you. No, no, I'll get right here. Oh, this way, because this way the kids need to sign. The chief not in here. My chief. this point, I would like to continue with our meeting. We have some proclamations. So, council, if you would please come to the podium so we could read the proclamations.
Yep.
Getting my steps in.
Joan Osborne.
I'll read the proclamation.
Joan Osborne was honored by the Angie Ritchie she received the Environmental Award. Whereas the Angie Ritchie Award was created by the Ritchie family, longtime Howell residents, in memory of Ann, who recognized the need to address environmental issues and preserve open space in Howell Township. Whereas Joan Osborne is a devoted advocate for the environment, for civic engagement, and for Howell Township. She has served for over 7 years on various township committees, including Environmental, Green Team, Natural Resources Working Group, and Winston Park. Whereas Joan has been instrumental in obtaining environmental resources for Howell and is always willing to volunteer for projects and improve the environment for Howell and its community. Whereas Joan was responsible for the founding of the ongoing management of the Howell Farmers Market, and whereas Joan has been selected as the recipient of this year's Angie Ritchie Environmental Award because of her enduring concern for the environment, particularly in Howell Township. Whereas Joan has shown great dedication to the citizens of Howell Township, serving as a model of civic engagement and participation. She's focused many of her efforts on protecting the precious environmental resources in Howell and is worthy of the recognition bestowed upon her with the presentation of this award. I therefore, the Township of usually it's the other way, but okay. Now, the Township the Township Council of the Township of Howell does hereby honor Joan Osborne as the 2022 Angie Ritchie Environmental Award recipient and recognize her tremendous efforts in preserving the health and natural beauty of the Township of Howell, as well as her years of service on various commissions and committees. In reading that, though, I want to say that I've worked with Joan quite often, and she's brilliant. She's enjoyable to work with. She's funny, unassumingly sometimes. Don't realize it. And I am honored to be able to read the proclamation for her. So I want to say thank you for all that you've done for Howell Township. Do you want to say something, or do you want to get a picture? Do you want to, let's get a picture?
No, good. It's a long meeting. Put her on this side. I'll hold it. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations.
The next proclamation is for the Adelphia Fire Company, their 95th anniversary. Let's give it up for 95 years. Whereas the Adelphia Fire Company was formed in response to the need for local fire protection after a series of tragic fires in Howell during the 1920s. Whereas on February 9, 1927, Adelphia Fire Company was officially organized by a group of concerned citizens. And whereas over the past 95 years, the firefighting equipment used by Adelphia Fire Company has progressed from a donated hearse used as a supply vehicle to the modern and sophisticated fire and resource apparatus used today. And whereas during the past 95 years, Adelphia Fire Company has responded to many thousands of emergency calls in their response area alone,
And whereas today the Adelphia Fire Company proudly protects 18,000 people living in primarily residential area of 22 square miles. Wow, that's a big area. I didn't realize that's how much you covered. Whereas the Adelphia Fire Company consists of many dedicated volunteers, including company chiefs, presidents, life members, and active members, as well as the Ladies Auxiliary. Now therefore, I, Teresa Berger, Mayor of the Township of Howell, on behalf of the governing body, do hereby recognize the 95th anniversary of the Adelphia Fire Company and need to express appreciation and gratitude to its members for their efforts in keeping our community safe for so many years. I want to say thank you today, but thank you for all of the past members, for all of the services that you provided to that large square footage of Howell. So thank you so much. Yes, that's why I was talking like, gentlemen, if you would. Yeah.
Just step forward. Come on, this way. Put them right behind us.
I'm gonna go, it's all about you guys.
No, it's fine, I mean, we'll stand out.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks again. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I needed to correct myself. I said gentlemen, thank you for your service, but I should have said ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your service. So please forgive me for that mistake. I feel terrible about that. Yeah. Teresa, I don't know, do you want those? Okay. Are we ready, council?
The next proclamation will be read by Krista.
Absolutely.
Okay. Good evening, I'm Krista Riddle, I'm the Howell Alliance Coordinator, and I'm here with Alliance members Karen Freiberg and Daniel Regan from CFC Loud and Clear and HU Centers. And we're here to present a proclamation for National Substance Abuse and Bullying Prevention Month, October 2022. Whereas Howell Township reported 62 fatal and non-fatal overdoses in 2021, and 29 fatal and non-fatal overdoses from January to June 2022. And a record number of fatal overdoses claimed 100,306 lives in the U.S. between April 2020 and April 2021. And whereas any form of substance use, including nicotine, marijuana, alcohol, illicit drugs, synthetic drugs, and prescription medications, can permanently impact youth's brain development, with the brain developing until at least age 25. And whereas youth and young adult substance use increases the lifetime risk of developing a substance use disorder, a long-term mental health disorder, poor physical health, lowered career and financial achievement, and negative social consequences. And whereas 1 out of every 5 students in America reports being bullied, almost 50% of tweens ages 9 to 12 years old report experiencing bullying at school, and 14.5% of tweens report experiencing cyberbullying. And whereas students who experience bullying are at an increased risk for depression, anxiety, lower self-esteem, sleep difficulties, physical ailments, lower academic achievement, dropping out of school, and relationship difficulties. And whereas the Howell Alliance remains committed to providing Howell community members with education, public awareness, and programs supporting substance use prevention, bullying prevention, and mental well-being, as well as information on support resources and stigma reduction in these areas. And then it would be, now therefore, Mayor Teresa Berger, Mayor of the Township of Howell, on behalf of the governing body, do hereby proclaim October 2022 as National Substance Abuse and Bullying Prevention Month in Howell Township, and commend its observance to all citizens.
Thank you.
Oh, sure.
The next proclamation would be Breast Cancer Awareness.
Breast Cancer Awareness Month, whereas breast cancer touches the lives of Americans from every background and in every community across our nation, and whereas in 2022, an estimated 287,750 new cases of invasive breast cancer are expected to be diagnosed in women in the U.S., and about 2,710 new cases are expected to be diagnosed in men. And whereas during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we honor those who have lost, lend our strength to those who carry on the fight, and pledge to educate ourselves and our loved ones about this tragic disease. And whereas, through the exact causes of breast cancer are unknown, understanding its risk factors is essential to prevention. Early detection is also key in the fight against breast cancer. And whereas, during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we stand with the mothers, daughters, sisters, aunts, and friends who have been affected by breast cancer, and recognize the ongoing efforts of dedicated advocates, researchers, and healthcare providers who strive each day to defeat this terrible disease. And whereas Breast Cancer Awareness Month provides an excellent opportunity for citizens to learn more about prevention and the treatment of this potentially life-altering illness. Now therefore, Teresa Berger, Mayor of the Township of Howell, on behalf of the governing body, do hereby proclaim the month of October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the Township of Howell, and urge our citizens to work together to increase awareness and support education and research.
Thank you.
And that's it for proclamations.
At this time, I would like a motion to accept the minutes from July 12.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of July 12th, 2022.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Councilman Bonovich.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Abstain.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond.
Yes.
Mayor Berger.
Abstain.
Thank you.
We need acceptance for the minutes of September 13, 2022.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of September 13, 2022, regular and executive session.
A second.
Councilman Bonovich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan.
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond.
Yes.
And Mayor Berger.
I believe, was I at that meeting?
You were at the meeting of July 12th, but not September 13th.
Okay,
So,
so I'll abstain from that.
okay, and can we just put you back on the record for?
Put me back on the record for the 12th. I thought it was the opposite.
All right, very good, thank you.
At this time, I have report of the township officials, but I would like to call up Steve Friedman, please, from the chamber.
Good evening. I just want to, I'm here to represent the Howell Chamber of Commerce this evening. Dr. Steve Friedman, my physical therapy office is right here on Route 9, a proud business owner here in the town of Howell. I'm also serve right now as the president of the Howell Chamber of Commerce. In my duty as the chamber president over the last year, coming out of the COVID pandemic and the unfortunate lockdowns we had to come up with an idea to get things going again as we lost over close to half our membership in the challenging times. Our membership has grown by about 30 new members with the hard work of our executive director, Sue Dominguez. But in those efforts as well, we had to come up with an idea to get things going and really, obviously do some fundraising to keep things going and so we can continue to support the Howell Chamber, the Howell Commerce community. So we came up with the idea to recognize the past while going forward into the future. The past that we're recognizing is the 65 years that the Howell Chamber has been in existence. During the event we're going to have on October 27th, which is next Thursday, at Our House Restaurant on Elton Adelphia Road, we'll be acknowledging several businesses that have been in this town for quite a long time, including Kirk Flores, Puglisi Egg Farms, Kelson and Burns Accountants, Lakewood Funeral Home, John Blewett Incorporated, Owl Lanes, Tire Farm, and a few others that have been around for quite a while. The event is open to the public, it's $75 a person. And if there's any additional information, you can go to our website, howellchamber.com. This event has been a tremendous undertaking for our crew that went together to get this thing going. But it could not have been done without the tremendous support of our sponsors, namely the Township of Howell. So I'm here tonight to give you guys a hearty thank you for your continued support of the business community here in Howell, along with the Howell PBA, Central State Healthcare System, the Salon Professional Academy, and Manasquan Savings Bank. And there are quite a few people who have donated door prizes for the event, so a good old thank you to them as well. And I don't know if anybody has any questions for the event, but okay. Thank you very much for your time today.
See you then. Thank you.
Thank
See you in
you.
a couple weeks, too.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Next, if I can please call up Lisa Dowd.
You okay?
Hi, I'm here tonight to represent the Howell Green team and announce our 2022 Sustainable Jersey recertification. Just to give everybody a little bit of background, Sustainable Jersey is a network and movement of municipalities, schools, and school districts working collectively to bring about a sustainable New Jersey. Participating municipalities successfully implemented and documented over 9,000 discrete actions from the Sustainable Jersey list of best practices. Howell Township was previously at a bronze level with 150 points, and in 2022, we were able to attain the silver level certification. We were approved for 36 actions in 13 categories for a total of 360 points. There are currently 217 certified municipalities, and now Howell is one of the 64 silver certified municipalities. Our next goal is to go for gold. There is currently one Gold Star certified community, and we can get there.
Which one is it?
It's Woodbridge. Yeah. So to earn Gold Star, there are 3 categories: energy, health, or water categories. And you need to do specific projects in those categories to attain a Gold Star while maintaining the 360 points that we have for silver. So I want to thank everybody on council, everybody from the town, the Green Team members. Everybody really pitched in, and there was a lot of information that we had to submit for recertification. The Green Team members were awesome. I mean, everybody took a project, found the materials. You know, each project has a certain amount of materials. They're very specific about what has to be submitted and what they will accept. And a write-up has to be submitted for every single action and category. So, I mean, I just want to thank all of the Green Team members that are here because they were awesome. Mary Ann, Jerry, Larry, John, Brian, Nick, everybody really just like pitched in and got it done. Thank you to everybody at the town because every time we asked for something, you guys found it and sent it to us, and everybody just chipped in and helped. So it was a group effort getting the 360 points. We also, part of the 360 points were the 2 Sustainable Jersey PSE&G grants that we got this year. And one was a $10,000 grant to install refillable water bottle stations at the municipal building, which, thanks to Paul and his crew, are in the process of being installed in the next week or so. And also a $2,000 grant for a pollinator garden planting at Easy Street, which we started about 2 weeks ago, and we're in the process of finishing up in probably the next 2 or 3 weeks. So it was a lot of work again to get those grants. The Green Team hadn't gotten grants in a couple of years, and everybody chipped in to get that. So we're looking at closing out those grants this year so we can apply for additional grants next year in different categories. And I just wanted to remind everybody, as part of our pollinator garden grant, we're hosting a workshop with New Jersey Audubon this Sunday at the Manasquan Reservoir. And it will be on designing your pollinator and wildlife garden habitat.
What time?
It's at 1 o'clock on Sunday the 23rd at the Environmental Center at the reservoir. And I believe the town posted it today on the website. So thank you. I appreciate everybody's help. And thank you to my green team. You guys are awesome.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clark?
Okay, so very quickly, I will find it and then I will say it. As many people know, or many people may not know, we happen to have an archery range in Howell, and so we're currently working with the United Bow Hunters of New Jersey to refurbish it and make it operational once again. So tonight, just very quickly, we're going to have a presentation from our DPW Director, Paul Novello, avid outdoorsman. He's been spearheading the project for the township, and Rick Going, who's the Monmouth County representative of the United Bow Hunters of New Jersey. They're going to give us a very brief overview of the project. So.
Good evening, Mayor, Council,
Good evening.
Joe, everybody. I'm just going to start out. I started getting back into bow hunting and archery in general about 3 years ago, and I joined the United Bow Hunters of New Jersey. I think, Rick, how many members?
We have approximately 1,500 members representing the 47,000 bow hunters in the state of New Jersey.
And they, not only do they educate, but they also try to keep all our privileges and rights as hunters and outdoorsmen. I recently went to a meeting a couple months ago, and I was asked about the archery range in Howell, and if I could look into getting it resurrected. So I talked to the manager. He was very receptive. I brought it back to the council, and now I'm going to introduce Rick Going, the Monmouth County rep.
Thank you very much. Mayor, Council, Mr. Manager, I'm Rick Going. I'm the Monmouth County representative for United Bow Hunters of New Jersey. We are the state bow hunting organization. In layman's terms, essentially, we are the NRA for bow hunting in the state of New Jersey. We do the lobbying. We make sure that heritage continues to go on. We work with towns like yours to help create new recreation opportunities like this archery range that we're talking about tonight. We also work with many towns on community deer programs to help reduce the population, which will reduce the number of deer-car collisions, vegetation damage, and the spread of Lyme disease. In addition to that, we work with youth groups like the Scouts, sponsor mentored hunts for kids, women, and the handicapped. We actually just had a widow, women in the outdoors mentoring program this past weekend, as well as another for a handicapped group. Unfortunately, we had to combine the two of them because of bad weather earlier this year when we had them separated. And that was very successful. We had 12 hunters and 5 of them were successful on their first ever hunts. We also sponsor 3D archery tournaments, donate thousands of pounds of meat to community-based, from the community-based hunts to hunters helping the hungry, as well as local food banks. Obviously, tonight we're here to talk about the archery range. To me, it's near and dear to my heart because my family's from Howell. My mother moved to Farmingdale in 1980. My brother is actually still a teacher at Howell High School. He's personally taught over 1,000 of your kids how to shoot a bow over the years as a gym teacher at Howell. If you can open up the packets, what I did is I showed some aerial photos of the current location along 195. It shows you've got about 115 acres there. The second picture shows the rough sketch out which is fluid based upon the actual real dimensions because I don't know what they are. But it'll show an archery range ranging from 10 yards to 70 yards with all individual lanes for each of that. The next picture is the current location and what it looks like today compared to what it was the last time I remember. I used to actually shoot at this range when you had it open, I want to say between 2000 and 2005. It was a great town run program, and the area sorely misses it. For those that aren't familiar with an archery range, it looks like the next picture is Garden State Archers in Wrightstown, and it shows the staggered target butts that I'm talking about and what we would provide for you. We would build them, house them in their own enclosure, so to speak, to protect them, one, from the weather, two, also to make it harder for vandals to steal them and destroy them. I was asked by Mr. Clark to show a best practices, which would be aspirational, and the next picture shows a poured concrete firing line, a roof over the firing line, and then actually a platform over the top of that where you can actually practice as if you were shooting out of a tree stand while you're hunting for much more realistic shots. The last picture is actually, we would donate a sign to the town talking about the rules and regulations for safety and giving a phone number for any issues that might need to be addressed as far as repair, vandalism, what have you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. This photo here shows the archery range back when it was an archery range. You can see in the center left side of the screen a structure. That was the direction of fire. If you go to the next slide, that was from 2002. This is kind of what it looks like now. It's a lot more overgrown. What we would be doing, Public Works, would be clearing out some of the scrub, helping lay out the lanes, putting on some wood chips to prevent vegetative growth, putting down some R-blend for a parking area, and just cleaning up the roadway in.
Any questions?
No, you have any rough costs as far as like the poured concrete? I say it's the land, it's the concrete, the wood chips. You have a little guesstimate?
Well, the wood chips is kind of a good thing because we have a lot of wood chips and it's going to help us get rid of some. So that's a win-win for us. It's going to take my guys a couple days to get it right, but then it'll be an asset to the town. Our clean communities will go around once a week, empty the garbage cans that are there because we don't anticipate a lot of garbage. Most archers are outdoorsmen and they're not just going to throw stuff and walk away. So the impact to me is not going to be that much. As for the concrete, that is down the road. That could be
aspirational. That's like the best practices.
And that could be a Eagle Scout project.
The UBNJ is going to provide everything to make it completely turnkey to actually put in a basic archery range. And then we're talking about things that could be done over time.
Gotcha.
To improve it, and assuming that what kind of reaction we get and the ultimate usage, we do that down the line. We would also, with the size of the property, there's a lot of room to cut lanes and trails through the woods to set up a realistic 3D archery course. So essentially, you'd be walking down a course in a realistic setting and shooting three-dimensional foam animals as if it was a hunt, but it's not a live animal.
Joe, do you know about how much this would increase our insurance, or?
So I already talked to Dominic, our insurance broker. The JIF is going to be going out there on Thursday to do a safety inspection, and so we will get sort of their take on it after that. Typically, I wouldn't anticipate it increasing our insurance costs much, but I will ask them specifically about that. Yeah.
Thank you.
What's the approximate time frame for completion,
That,
once started?
we can get everything done probably once we have the cleared land and the approval to go forward. I would suspect 1 or 2 weekends.
Oh.
And we could do it, like I said, in a couple days. Our busy season is coming up. Of course, our busy season is always here, but, I mean, we can get it in, like I said, a couple days, and we'll get her done. And if anybody wants to go see the Garden State Archery, it's quite similar. They have the 3D range there. They have the outdoor range. That's in Wrightstown. I'd be happy to take anybody out there if they wanted to see
Just
it.
go down 195, go south past Great Adventure, and it's about 20 minutes on your right. It's a quick, easy ride from here.
That would be, what, close to Prospertown Lake?
Yes,
And so the location of this will be exactly where?
that is your property butting up between 195 and Route 9 on the southbound lane, in that corner behind McDonald's on Route 9.
It's
a good
Bass Place
location.
dead ends, and that's where the road goes in.
And it's so timely, we're in bow season right now, are we not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hurry up.
So I will keep everybody posted after the JIF inspection, and then as things move along, we'll let you guys know. But
Sounds good.
I think it's a great
Increasing
idea.
rec-
Just a
yeah.
quick question, is this just a come as you are, like, people come with their equipment, like, they don't have to schedule, like, it's just an open field, it's
This
like park?
This is just like any other park that you
Okay.
have in your town. And then we can do special events. We have members, actually, one of our other members who lives here in town is a hunter's ed teacher. We could do courses there. We can do special events to get kids involved. We have what are called Genesis bows, which are about 10 to 15 pound pull,
Yes.
and are basically, will work for anybody from the smallest 5-year-old to someone that's almost my size. And it's a great beginning thing to get children involved. That's actually the same equipment that Howell High School and my brother taught the 1,000-plus kids at the school. And he had so many kids signing up from your town that each year he had to turn down kids because there just wasn't enough room, capacity for the number of kids that wanted to do it.
I love
May I?
the idea. Yeah.
Mayor? Is there surveillance? Will we have security there, just for, obviously, for protection for the township and?
What we can do, now I know there's a gate there, we would suggest that as a best practice to close the gate at dusk or what have you. We can also, part of what we do at Garden State Archers is on those enclosures for the targets, we actually have doors that can be closed and locked to further secure them, but someone from town would have to be responsible to do that on a daily basis.
Would this also have lighting, outside lighting?
That's something that's aspirational and could be done later, but that's entirely up to you. I mean, I don't know what you want to do as far as
Well,
hours.
if you, I would think you wouldn't want that, because you wouldn't want it open at night.
Dawn to dusk.
How long is the roadway in?
About a mile. It's a bit of a drive.
I think it's a great idea. Yeah, I'm happy to hear it. It's something else, not only in terms of a club, but bow hunting is pretty prevalent in Howell. I know because they hunt right across from my house, and I see them go in and out all the time. So I think there's a true need, and certainly teaching people the correct way is the right way. So I love the idea.
What's that group, the Scholastic? Three
There's
disciplines?
actually, I don't have the details, literally on our last monthly meeting, we voted to help partner with S3DA, and it's Scholastic 3-Discipline Archery. And they actually then sponsor tournaments. I would become a certified instructor to teach kids technically how to shoot and shoot properly. I've been doing it since 1982, and I'm one of the better competitive archers in the state. So while I don't have the technical credentials, I can teach a kid pretty well how to shoot today.
Sounds like you're the right man.
I hope so. Thank you.
And I'm sure, knowing Mr. Novello, that this will be done correctly, accurately, and swiftly. So I have every confidence.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Clark, do we need to vote to move forward?
No, this was basically just to bring council up to speed on the initiative and to let you know that we're partnering with them, and that, before anything really starts happening, we're going to double check on the safety, but just another recreational opportunity that we're actually restoring in the town,
Okay.
putting it back into circulation, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, and then just quickly for the rest of the update, so from DPW, we have the Clean Communities is coordinating a community volunteer cleanup day, October 22nd, 2022. Information is available on our website. The LED signs at Global and Soldier Memorial, we've run electric out to both the signs, which is allowing the existing pole here at Town Hall to be utilized. It saved about $15,000 for us, so that was fantastic. We're hoping to have those up and running very shortly. The second brush grinding of the year is underway, so we have wood chips for the archery range. We're working on a roadway striping contract. The bus stops, which have been sort of a source of annoyance for all of us, we have trash cans that have been delivered, and they will be placed out at the bus stops within the next couple weeks. The senior center, we are having a railing installed there, and we will be done with that probably in the next couple weeks as well. Bottle filling stations, as Lisa Dowd had mentioned, they're coming into Town Hall very shortly. So the properties that we acquired as part of the Colel settlement, we were getting some complaints about ingress egress into them, so buildings and grounds. Took plywood, boarded it up, but to keep it from looking, obviously boarded it up, they painted it black and attached it from the inside, so it looks like a structure, but it's secure and safe. So that was a great initiative by them. 118 potholes were filled. Hazardous tree survey, to date, 104 trees have been removed. There have been 7,107 stops since the start of bulk collection this year, which is continuing. And this is a kudos to Dave McLaughlin, Tim Curry, and Kyle Bodie. They were out on bulk pickup, and a fire started in the back of the truck. They very wisely dumped the load on the street and called PD and fire department. It saved us about $250,000 for the truck, and it caused no damage at all. So
That's amazing. Excellent job.
yeah, heads up by them. I mean, just a real heads up move. EMS, we have a new ambulance, American Emergency Vehicle. It's brand new. There are a lot of details here, but the upshot is past state inspection, it's out on the road, it's an amazing piece of equipment, and I'm really glad that we have it here in town. Howell Day was a success. Thank you to the PBA for taking a laboring oar with the beer and wine tent. Welcome addition, and we are working on some changes to make Howell Day bigger and better next year, especially the beer and wine tent. I think the PBA has some ideas as well that we're looking forward to. Food truck selections were expanded. We're going to keep working on that. And we're working on turning Howell Day singular into Howell Days plural. We're exploring the possibility of additional rides, more adult-oriented, a midway, more food trucks, and other tangential events such as a 5K or color run. Sporting events featuring our local sports teams, concerts in the park with our new stage, different food cook-offs, chilies, pies, things like that, and maybe a townwide garage yard sale, a bunch of other stuff. Again, silver level achievement for our Sustainable Jersey. I know how hard they work. They're great. It's a great group of people, and we're all very lucky to have them here. October 27th here in Town Hall. Winter's coming up, so New Jersey Natural Gas will be having an Energy Assistance Day from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Participants, and we encourage everybody to show up for it. You'll learn about and can apply for grants to help pay energy bills. So we had our first cricket match on Saturday. I don't think any of us quite understood how it was all going to work out, but it was a lot of fun. I can tell you, the games are pretty interesting, and I think we all picked it up pretty quickly. So that was the first and last game of the season. We hosted the semifinals for the New Jersey Softball Cricket League's Division I and II semis. So we're looking forward to it next year. I think it's going to be a great addition, and anybody in town who's interested in putting together a team or learning, I'm sure they're more than willing to help in that respect. Is it winding or were you decommissioning the tennis court? Monmouth Riding. So we're decommissioning a tennis court at Monmouth Ridings. It's one of our pocket parks. We're going to save the fence from there, and we're going to look to whether we can use it to set up a small dog run at Deerwood or another park, so that people can bring their pets and let them run off leash. The tennis court itself, we're trying to decide what to do with, and Mr. Howard sent the letter out to the neighborhood to kind of poll them for ideas. We may just end up digging up the asphalt and seeding it over. As I mentioned last time, we formally own a stage now. It's going to be made ready over the winter. Some of the ideas we're kicking around for this, and we're going to be reaching out both within the town and to various organizations around for music in the park, theater in the park, Battle of the Bands, and all of that at the senior center as well. The stage is completely mobile, and we can move it around. Something that sort of dovetails with music in the park and theater in the park is, the idea of maybe picnics, blankets, things like that. I'm working with Caitlin on open container ordinances for us. One of the things that we're allowed to do now under state laws, designate open container areas in our parks. So it'd be nice to have something like music or a play, and let people come and, have wine or beer or whatever and enjoy it in moderation while they also see entertainment on our new stage. So, as I'd mentioned in exec, and I'll say it out here, we had a preliminary inspection of the daycare we acquired as part of the Colel settlement. We're looking forward to working with the PAL on getting that up and running. The state had very favorable reception to it, so it's not going to take a lot of work. And then hopefully we're trying to work that into sort of a larger, potentially, development down in that area, whether it's for veterans housing or, something that we have control over in that regard. So it's a good thing. It was a good day for that, and we're going to keep moving forward with it. So Senior Center, they received an additional $7,000 in grant money under an existing open grant, so that was very good news. In addition to the railings, we are working to try and find money saved under some of our existing capital projects, so that we can get some or all of their parking lot paved. I was up there. It needs paving, and so if we have the money and we find it, we're going to be able to do it. And I think we're kind of moving towards that direction, and I'll have more of an updated report next month as I talk to Mr. Howard and Justin Yost about it. Outdoor skating rink at Deerwood. I'm going to mention them by name, so thank you, Nick Ficcarelli. He wanted to use one of them. His daughter is involved in roller derby, and the skating rink in Jackson was closed post-acquisition, and it's being fixed up, so he wanted to use one of our roller rinks, our outdoor skating rinks. It wasn't in the best of shape, so he contacted us. We talked. We found him a spot. They're using the basketball courts at Oak Glen, and then Paul Novello immediately contacted a paving company, and we had the cracks and all of that filled in on Rink 1. So Rink 1 is now usable again. We're just going to go around the boards and make sure that, they're all attached properly, and we'll have that open soon. It doesn't look the best yet, but we're going to resurface it and paint it next year after the winter. Rink 2 also needs repairs, but I think we're working that as part of the park improvement program, so it may not be a skating rink anymore. open issue as to what it is. I'm going to save that for Mr. Howard to talk about. Sometime around Thanksgiving, we just talked today, we're working on it. We're going to try, we've got to walk the trail first to make sure we can do it. We're going to try putting together a 5K turkey trot / trail run from Oak Glen to Manasquan Reservoir around a loop and then back to Oak Glen. We think we have the trail worked out, but we actually have to walk it and find out. So we're going to be posting more details about it. Part of it, we're going to do like a young person's 2-mile run. That ends before any road crossings of that, so that should be nice. Halloween decorating contest is in full swing. We have 20 entrants so far. Tonight's the night. Sign up ends, so please, if you're interested, sign up and get in the mix. In conjunction with our first annual Halloween Week Fright Fest. Let me go back. We have actually some pretty good prizes. So we have an overall prize. First place overall will receive a $100 gift card and a trophy. The best entrant in the most creepy category will get a $50 gift card, as will the entrant in its Fall Y'all category and the best experience category. So please, everybody join in, and we're going to get a map going so people can go around and see what their neighbors and friends have done to decorate for the holidays. In conjunction with Halloween Week, we've got our first Halloween Week Fright Fest scheduled. We've picked out a full slate of some of the very worst horror movies ever made from the 50s and 60s. I'm not going to sit here and list them all, but some of the titles are Phantom Planet, War of the Colossal Beast, Zontar, The Thing from Venus, A Voyage to the Moon, which is an old original silent film, and a classic, Night of the Living Dead. They'll be played from about 8:30 to 11, Monday through Sunday, and an all-day marathon on Halloween. We're going to post a listing tomorrow on Facebook. It's going to be shown on Howell TV, which is channel 77, and our YouTube channel. Thank you to Allison G. She screened all the movies just to make sure there was nothing inappropriate that had been cut in or that there weren't any gaps. And then Glenn Grimstad and John Cordell in our IT department are loading them up and making sure they're going to be ready to go. Trunk or Treat for PAL is going to be at Soldier Memorial this year. It's going to include hay rides and pumpkin painting and a few other surprises. It's October 26th from 6 to 8. Our Howell Township's Halloween celebration takes place tomorrow night from 5:30 to 8 in Oakland Park. It features an inflatable corn maze, inflatable axe throwing, games, a hayride, pumpkin painting, and other activities. So as part of our discussions with the Farmers Market Committee, kudos to Joan Osborne and everybody else on the committee because they are very great to work with. We're thinking about moving it to a new site in 2023. So we're going to do a proof of concept test. We're going to have holiday markets on November 13th and December 11th at Echo Lake. December 11th market will be part of a larger day, which is going to include the holiday tree lighting. And then for this year's holiday season, we're going to have a holiday lighting contest and a gingerbread house decorating contest. The holiday lighting contest will be via online sign-up, and more details will be posted shortly on Facebook. For the gingerbread contest, again, details to follow, but December 9th is going to be the drop-off date. We're going to have entrants bring them to the Echo Lake Pavilion. They're going to be set up on tables around the perimeter for everybody to kind of enjoy and vote on during the December 11th tree lighting. November 5th at Echo Lake from 8 a.m. to noon, we're going to be hosting a coffee and kindness with a council person. Interested participants can join Councilwoman Brennan and others from the council to paint kindness rocks for a garden that's going to be placed in front of Town Hall. They'll be there for anyone who needs a dose of kindness in their lives to pick up and take home. And finally, we've done a lot of stuff with recreation. We're going to keep doing things. We're working to expand our opportunities throughout town. We have a number of new initiatives in the coming months. We're just trying to solidify them. People like living here, and they deserve to have a lot of nice stuff to do, and we're working hard to make that happen. So We'll keep you posted as that comes along, and that's all I have to say.
So,
That's all?
that was huge. So I'm going to make the recommendation that moving forward, that goes at the end. Because, everybody's.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I
we've
mean,
been, they've
I
been here
just-
for an hour and a half already.
I want everybody to know that.
No,
we're
I
gonna
totally
do it.
respect, and it's great information, but I think, there's been a lot of people that have been here, so maybe we'll change we changed it for council, so we could change it for the entire.
Mayor, may I just very quickly?
No, council is not. We're not speaking until the end. That's how we set it up. Thank you. Do you have anything to say?
I have about maybe 10 minutes of updates.
No, then
I'll-
please, please wait till the end.
Sure.
Because it's time for the people to speak. I would like to open up the meeting for the hearing of citizens and public comments on the consent agenda item. Thank you so much. Lisa Dowd? You're good? Jerry's next. Jerry Barron?
Good evening, everybody. I'll do this quickly since we're behind schedule, I guess, or something.
Yeah.
But just quickly with the green team, since that's a popular topic tonight, it might be a good time to bring this up. For some odd reason, we're kind of the foster child in this town as far as every year we have to resubmit applications. No other group in town has to totally resubmit their group to get reappointed next year. I think it's time we got involved with a tier structure. Every other group in town has 3-year terms, 2-year terms, 1-year terms. I think it's about time we kind of got equal with all the other groups in town and didn't have to reapply every year for being on
That's
the
very
green team.
reasonable. That's very reasonable.
I mean, you can work on that in your executive committees or whatever, but I think it's about, we've been around 10 years now, so I think it's time we kind of got to be like anybody else. Second point I want to bring up is the shade tree. I know there is an ordinance on the books that you're going to vote on tonight about taking our money and using it for purposes, open space or whatever. But I discussed this with people at the tree giveaway on October 1st. I think there's a communications we have to have. The green teams, the shade tree does not want to find out 3 weeks later that 400,000 got taken out of our account, and where did it go? It would be nice if we knew beforehand from council, mayor, Joe Clark, or something like that, where's the money going? Just so we know what's going on. I know, Pam, I mentioned that to you.
We did, we spoke, and then I did mention it to Mr. Clark, and Mr. Clark, you had an answer for that, right?
So the answer to that is that the tree fund is not shade trees. The tree fund is the townships, and it's administered by Mr. Palazzo. So it's not under the shade trees control. I've said this multiple times, including at a meeting this year. The shade tree doesn't have to approve stuff. In fact, what shade tree is really supposed to do is come to council in December and get their budget from council for the year out of that fund. So I think there's always been sort of a miscommunication about how that works. It is true that under the ordinance, there's supposed to be an update made to shade tree periodically, but in terms of like controlling or voting and that's more of a council function, not a shade tree function. And again, as I said, the tree fund is technically under the control of the CFO.
Thank you.
Just quickly, we have certain projects we have going next year, so it would be nice to know at least monthly what's in the budget or something like that, you know.
Yeah, so what should happen then is in December, you should come before council, which is required under the ordinance, with your budget for the year, and have it presented to council by a member, whether you or the president or and have your budget approved, so that way the money will be set aside. It didn't happen last year, but that's sort of a one-off, because typically there is a budget for shade tree, so that's not a big deal, but that's the way to do it, is to come in December with a budget.
All right, thank you. Have a good evening, everybody.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you.
And don't forget the farmer's market is moving. That's important. Thank you. We need activity and people to come.
Thank you, Jerry. Kimberly Solsky?
Mr. Clark, may I? Before Ms. Shulsky comes up to speak? I just want to address...
Actually, you
No,
have-
excuse me, Mayor.
I'm
I
in
am
charge of the meeting. You're
I
supposed to ask
understand
me,
that,
not
but
Mr.
excuse me,
Clark.
Mr. Clark, I'm going to recuse myself being pending litigation since I have obtained a lawyer regarding the situation that I'm sure Ms. Shulsky is coming up. So would you like me to recuse myself from the dais right now? Or,
Okay, you can step down from the dais.
thank you.
Thank you for hearing me out. I'd like to start off by saying I came to this meeting tonight to go on the record about an incident that happened between myself and Deputy Mayor Pamela Richmond and her boyfriend, companion, John Bittner, at the Ivy League Bar and Grill in Howell on Sunday, October 9th, 2022. I'm a manager at the bar and have worked there for almost 4 years. I would like to state for the record that I am a registered Republican and a Trump supporter. So with that being said, my motivation for coming forward about this incident is not to support any Democrat agenda or politics in your town. I'm not even a resident of Howell. I'm a resident of Jackson. It is simply about ethics and code of conduct of a public official who threatened me at work and not politics. I have nothing to gain from this. I also filed a police report about this incident and have a security camera video documenting this incident. The video pretty much just documents how aggressive these two were towards me. Her and her companion's behavior was just very disturbing and unhinged, and this is my reason for coming to this council meeting. I am aware that this is not the first time that her conduct or her ethics have come into question in hindsight. Before this incident, I had no idea who this woman was, other than she is a regular customer at the Ivy League. I do not take kindly to anyone who thinks that they can threaten me, my job, or try to intimidate me, especially a public official. Thank you for hearing me out, and I would like to read the letter that I had forwarded to the town and Chamber of Commerce, etc. To whom it may concern, my name is Kimberly Shulsky, and I am a manager at the Ivy League Bar and Grill in Howell. I would also like to mention first and foremost that I am a registered Republican since I've been old enough to vote. I am writing you as a concerned citizen who works in the town and to make you aware of a disturbing incident that took place at the Ivy League on Sunday, 10/9/22, between myself and the Deputy Mayor of Howell, Pamela Richmond, and her companion boyfriend, John Bittner. I wasn't sure of their relationship at this point. Pamela and John are both regular patrons of both Ivy League and Chapter House and frequent both locations several days a week. I'm a Jackson resident and was not aware of her position in the township of Howell until this incident. Because she is a local government employee that's supposed to represent the citizens in the community, her actions were despicable and totally inappropriate for a community official who takes an oath. They were sitting at the bar watching football when both started chanting, "Let's go Brandon," which in effect started to rile up other patrons. In my experience, this always causes issues, bar fights, etc., and can incite violence. I calmly approached the situation and asked them to please not go there and to chill with the "Let's go Brandon." Because in today's society, it only takes one person to disagree and incite an escalation of the situation, which it did. And her and her partner's reaction was so aggressive and irate because they were drunk. Come to find out, in hindsight, they were both at Chapter House drinking before they showed up at Ivy League. And they were also drinking the night before because I was the closing manager and they were there for several hours on Saturday night. So they've made it a habit to come for several hours out of 2 days in a weekend to drink at both establishments. They both began to scream profanities at me, cursing me out in front of families and children that were seated at the bar tables. At one point, she told me to take off my mask so she could spit in my face, especially when I tried to approach her and explain that I wasn't coming at her as a political view. I was simply coming at her as that this was inappropriate and you can't act like that in the bar. she told me to take off my mask so she could spit in my face. I guess apparently she didn't believe that I was the same Republican or, Trump supporter, as like I said, I had tried to explain to her. She climbed up on the footrest of the bar to come over as far as she could over the bar top so that they could both scream in my face and try to intimidate me by telling me she hoped I liked my job because I won't be there tomorrow, and that I should call the owner, Bob Jaspin, because I won't have my job tomorrow. When I asked her who she was, so I could reference her to Bob, she kept being belligerent and kept saying Pam. The man, John, she was with is about 6'5" and 300 pounds. And when I told them I wanted them to pay their check and leave, he refused and said they weren't going anywhere and to make them leave. Which at that point, I told them I was going to call the police. They continued to berate me and belittle me in front of my staff and patrons of the bar. Which at that point, I told them I was going to call the police. They continued to berate me and belittle me. And one of the owners, Paul Jaspin, became involved in the situation and was trying to calm them down also. At that point, I walked away to de-escalate the situation, at which point she was walking around the bar trash-talking about me to anyone that would listen to her. I would like to mention again that I had no idea previously who she was until someone who witnessed the incident had told me that she was the deputy mayor of Howell Township. All I was trying to do was calmly de-escalate the situation, and they completely took it to the next level. Her and her companion's actions are absolutely inappropriate and despicable for a deputy mayor and a community servant.
Excuse me, your 5 minutes is up.
I would like to finish. I'll be done in another minute.
Allow her, I believe we need to.
A motion and a second, please.
I'll make the motion to give her extra time.
Second.
I'll step down in second.
Thank you.
I'll wrap this up as quickly as I can. All I was trying to do was calmly de-escalate the situation, and they completely took it to the next level. Her and her companion's actions are absolutely inappropriate and despicable for a deputy mayor and the community servant. That's why I am bringing this incident to light. This type of person should not be governing any part of municipal government whatsoever. In my opinion, she has a drinking problem and should seek help because she obviously is at a low point again in her life, as previously admitted after her DUI arrest. I have filed a police report with the Howell PD and have a copy of the surveillance footage from the security cameras at Ivy League to show how aggressive she was towards me, her and her boyfriend. And I will be dropping a copy of the video at the PD so that it will be part of the record of this incident. Reference case number 2242691. She is morally corrupted for the fact that she would try to use her position to threaten my livelihood by thinking she could have me fired for running the business how myself and the owner see fit. She should be ashamed of her behavior in her own community and should maybe think twice next time before she tries to intimidate people because of her position in government. Thank you in advance for addressing this matter. Feel free to contact me if you have any other questions.
I have a question. Did you lose your job?
No, I did not. I did not lose my job. I have not been fired from the Ivy League. The owners back me 100%. They gave me some time off, personal time that I took out of my own acquired personal time just to reflect on this matter. And, but no, I absolutely have not been fired from my job at the Ivy League.
I'm very sorry that you had to experience that.
I appreciate that.
It's inappropriate, unprofessional,
unethical.
So I'm sorry.
I appreciate that.
That
my only reason for coming forward in this matter, again, before this date, I did not know who this woman was other than she was a regular customer that comes in, occasionally or even, several times a week. So the fact that she felt by her position in the community that she would be able to toss her weight around and believe that she'd be able to have me fired from my job is absolutely ludicrous, and she ought to be ashamed of herself.
I agree.
Thank you for letting me read my letter to you, and I appreciate.
It's Ms. Shelsky?
Yes, yes.
I want to apologize for her actions as well. This is very serious. It's a serious allegation. I have not seen this video. I don't know if Mr. Clark, have you seen this video?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I've only provided a copy of the video to the police department so far, but I do have a copy, and I can provide that to the council if you'd like.
I think all of council should see the video, and I think all of council should see, have access to this police report as well.
Okay. I've spoken to the police, the patrolman that was in charge of writing the report, and the video that I had submitted at one point was a bunch of different camera angles, so he had requested a single camera angle, which I had provided to him yesterday, but he informed me that his report probably would not be finished until Monday of next week, so. But other than that, I can provide a copy of the video, and the video really just goes to show that how aggressive and irate and how intimidating, if you could imagine as a woman, ladies, having a man that's 6'5", 300 pounds, screaming and cursing at you from across the bar, waving his hands, and just trying to scare me is pretty much what it was. So, again, you know, both of their actions were despicable, so.
It's unacceptable behavior from an elected official.
Thank you.
Honestly, I would
Thank you, and your time has
request-
ended.
I would respectfully request the resignation of Deputy Mayor.
I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Did anybody else have any questions for me?
Like I said, this is not the first time that we've heard, we've gotten emails on Mrs. Richmond's
Inappropriate behavior.
her behavior. Listen, this is a very serious
This is a
thing.
serious
So we're
issue.
just we're gonna get the police report, we're gonna get the video, and then council has to make a decision. But, you know, we also put our last township manager on a paid leave. Maybe that's a situation here. Ms. Richmond should be put on a paid leave. I mean, you know, it's only, you know, so much money a year. I mean, we need to see this. We need to know how serious this is.
Obviously, she felt that she had to hire a lawyer for some odd reason, so.
Not saying this didn't happen or it happened, we
Of
need
course,
to see
there's
it.
two sides to every story, I understand that.
And that's how I feel.
Once
Council
I get
needs
the
to see it.
police report, I'll make sure all council members
Thank
have
you
a
very
copy
much.
of it.
Thank you.
Thank you again for your time.
There is no one else on this list.
Steve Morlino, Peachstone Road. Apologize, I didn't see the sign-in list. There was so much activity earlier. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the new sworn-in police officers for their service and our new lieutenant and our new captain. I think we have one of the best police departments in the state. With that said, I'd also like to thank the Adelphia Fire Department for 95 years of service. That's commendable, and they make a really good barbecue spare rib fundraiser. So, Sustainable Jersey, they do a great job. Congratulations to them. I know what's involved to get there. The archery range. 25 years ago, we dedicated that archery range. It fell by the wayside. I'm glad to see someone wants to resurrect it. And with what we just heard, I have no comment. It's just unbelievable that a public official would act like that, but I'm sure you'll address that. So, I wanted to speak this evening about a letter I sent this council in regard to a lawsuit I had filed, and which was heard by Judge McCarthy recently in the Superior Court of New Jersey here. Basically, I'd like to read the letter I sent you. I'm sure all of you received the letter, I hope. Okay?
Yes, I did.
So as to whom you may concern, I was the plaintiff in the above referenced court case. This case involved the legality of a Class 4 Planning Board member serving simultaneously on the Manasquan River Regional Sewerage Authority, otherwise known as MRSA. I feel a duty to apprise you of the outcome of this case. Attached is a legal opinion from Mr. Cachero dated February 1, 2001. He's been the planning board attorney since prior to 2001, continuously. Mr. Cachero relied upon the Scanapicchio versus Abate case in concluding it was unlawful under both statutory and common law for a Class 4 planning board member to serve on MRSA. Also attached to what I sent you was this transcript for the motion hearing before the Honorable Owen McCarthy on August 26th of this year. This case was dismissed as moot because the conflicted member resigned from MRSA. Not that he was requested to resign, he said he had a scheduling conflict, thus ending the dispute. When one reads the transcript I sent you, there will be little doubt that the dual appointment is unlawful. Judge McCarthy concluded the hearing by stating, and I quote, "Mr. Cachero, I do caution you, though, that if this issue is repeated, the ruling may not be as favorable if there is an actual dispute. I suggest that you discuss this issue with the appropriate members of the legal team in the Township of Howell," unquote. I would be remiss if I didn't add to this that I found it deeply troubling that Mr. Cachero told Judge McCarthy under oath that he was never contacted by then Township Attorney Joseph Clark about the potential unlawful conflict when it was brought to the council's attention in February of 2021. I trust that Mr. Cachero has since discussed this issue with all of you. Again, I find it amazing that our attorney never bothered to contact the planning board attorney in regards to a conflict of interest. Mr. Cachero was involved back in 2021, when this, 2020, when this occurred, some 20 years ago, okay? He failed to contact him. Instead, he contacted the freehold people and asked them if it was right because they have someone on their council sitting on MRSA, a planning board member sitting on MRSA, which is illegal. And I bring this to your attention because on the consent agenda this evening, you have a member of the planning board who was also on MRSA, the conflicted person, who voted and approved the sewer issue under resolution R-22-316. Okay, he approved both the site plan for this project and the MRSA sewerage connection. Therein lies the conflict, okay? So I would suggest that you remove this consent agenda because you may have litigation pending from somebody based on this. So I think it's prudent on you to take a real good look at it. The other issue I wanted to talk about was Ordinance 0-22-61 regarding donation of property, 43.6 acres, otherwise known as the Fountains. This project came up 20-some-odd years ago, and it was my understanding that the developer donated that whole tract of land, which is now being built on, and took an $8 or $9 million IRS tax deduction for the donation. I find it incredible that all of a sudden this project's been resurrected, so I think someone should be looking into that. And with that, I bid you a good day. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to come up to just talk about the consent agenda?
May I have a motion to close public comment?
I'll make a motion to close, Mayor.
I'll second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Thank you.
May I have a motion on the consent agenda items on?
I'll make a motion to move R22-302 through 22-323, and in light of that news that we just heard about that conflict, I'd like to remove, I'd like to table R22-316.
Okay, excuse me, consent agenda would be through R22-320.
Correction, at 320. Correct, there's a single vote, correct?
Excluding 316.
Excluding 316. Yep.
It's separate motions, so why don't we move to table our, whatever, 316?
Motion to table 316.
Let's get a second.
Second. I'll second.
Okay, so vote.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Okay, so that's off, now you can move the consent.
All right, so then we're going to motion to move R22-302 to 320, correct?
Yes. Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution R22-311, providing for the insertion of a special item of revenue in the 2022 budget of the Township of Howell pursuant to NJSA.40A:4-87, Chapter 159, PL 1948.
This is to add that additional 7,000 for the senior center grant to add it to the budget.
I'll make a motion to approve R22311.
Second?
Councilman Bonovich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
This resolution passes.
Resolution 22-321, making application to the local finance board pursuant to NJSA 40A:2-11C and NJSA 40A:2-7D. May I have a motion?
I'll make the motions for R22-321.
Second?
Councilman Bonovich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
No.
The resolution passes.
R22-322, authorizing the issuance of one plenary retail liquor consumption license.
I'll make a motion to approve R22322.
Second?
Councilman Bonovich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
This resolution passes.
Resolution R22-323, authorizing the sale of surplus personal property no longer needed for public use. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion for R22-323.
A second?
I'll second.
Councilman Bonovich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
The resolution passes.
Unfinished business for public hearing and adoption of ordinances. What's the matter? Ordinance 22-54, an ordinance setting forth and amending and supplementing the salary range schedule for the salaries of certain officers and employees of the Township of Howell.
I'll make a...
We have to open for...
Sorry. Open.
We're open for public comment. They're seeing none. I will close.
May I have a motion?
Make the motion for ordinance 22-54.
Sorry. Second?
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
That was just to close public comment.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I heard public comment, I'm sorry. So now I need a motion to adopt the ordinance.
Motion to adopt ordinance 22-54.
I'll second.
Councilman Bonovich.
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance is adopted.
Ordinance 22-55, an ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 188 Land Use, Article 22, Woodlands Management, Section 202, Tree Fund of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Howell. I will open this to the public for public comment.
Tina Smilek, 33 Charles Street. How much do we currently have in our tree fund?
Mr. Clark? Or Lou? Mr. Palazzo, excuse me.
And has council ever considered putting on the ballot maybe to raise our open space fund by another penny? So we have more money for open space?
It's funny you mention that. It's something we're considering right now, potentially. So we're going to discuss it with council shortly.
I think that would be a great idea, since we all want open space and seems something we're all fighting for. And is there, on this, is there a certain percentage you can use up to? I mean, can you use the whole tree fund, or just?
No, we would, in theory, yes, but in practice, no, because obviously, like I was just telling Mr. Barron, we want to keep some in there so that we can do shade tree budgeting. You know, some years, they may have a big ask, and you want to make sure there's headroom in there so in theory, yes, in practice, no, wouldn't be responsible to deplete it.
Yeah, I just didn't want to
like
see
that.
it depleted.
No,
Okay.
that won't happen.
And are we, what's our, do we know the anticipated revenue coming into the tree fund?
Well, it depends, because it's a function of development in the town. So we don't, but we are, you know, we can calculate it as development applications roll in. We can kind of do the per acreage thing. You know, we're exploring some new things under there as well, because one of the provisions of the ordinance, rather than for payment into the tree fund or planting of trees on site, it allows a developer to plant trees off-site. And so we're exploring, you know, kind of how much we can do with that. So whether it's not, you know, it would be nice to get some heritage trees, specimen trees. I mean, these sort of, maybe we'll work with Rutgers to try some test plant. I know they're trying to bring hazelnuts back to New Jersey. So, you know, fruit orchards, I think the middle school had, so we want to work with the developers to kind of make Howell this amazing place as much as we can, and that's sort of what we're looking at now.
Okay.
The tree fund has $1,725,000 and change available.
Okay, and just one last question. What is the usual, I know it goes by development, how much usually do we put in it in the year, every year, and spend on it every year? Is there approximate, or you can't really?
I can't really, I can ballpark it, I'll find out and kind of average it out over the years, and I'll send it to you via email, and I'll, you know, we'll put it, you know, maybe on our website as well, so people know, but
A single project could be six figures, so it
Yeah.
could vary widely.
Yeah.
I know it's wide variety.
Yeah.
Thank you, and I hope you guys do the extra penny. I would vote yes for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Me too.
So at this point, I will have a motion to close, oh, please.
So I want to thank Mr. Clark for addressing some of the questions that people have had about this ordinance. About a year ago, we had Sherry Sparrow, who's the tree expert for the town, come to the shade tree meeting. And one of her comments was, the fastest way to preserve trees is to buy land that has trees on it. So, you know, the amount of money that's in the tree fund, I mean, I think if we use that money appropriately, and there's money to purchase areas in town that have trees on them that we can preserve, and there's also monies that can be used by the Shade Tree for the community to participate in tree plantings throughout the town, that would be a good use of the fund, instead of really the money's just sitting there right now. I mean, looking at the Shade Tree budget, anticipating what we're going to spend for next year, we'll touch a fraction of that money. Even if we, you know, shot for the moon and did every single project we could possibly think of doing. So the fact that we would put that money to use to preserve spaces in Howell that are wooded or would need reforestation, I think is a good use of the funds. And I mean, the number one question that we get is, what is the money being used for? So, the other question that people have asked is, if we do purchase land with that fund, will that land be preserved? Will it be preserved? Will it not be their option to like sell it, develop it? Like, is it forever preserved if we're using those funds to purchase that land?
It would depend. I mean, my feeling is, yeah, it should be, right? We're using money for open space and to purchase it sort of in perpetuity and leave a heritage behind for multiple generations. So, yeah, I think that would be the mindset on it, would be that exact sort of initiative. And like Lisa was saying, we've had multiple conversations, very easy to work with. We're coming up with a lot of ideas, I think, that are going to really sort of be interesting over the next year for Howell. Things that are sort of outside the box, and maybe some things that are inside the box, but that doesn't make them bad either. So it's just a lot of good stuff coming up.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I would like to see the funds used to purchase wooded lots that are going to be preserved, because, we can plant a lot of trees, but we can never recreate the trees that are already mature and growing. So, I mean, we can plant for the future, but what we have to preserve right now, if we can do that, then I think it's a very good use of some of the monies in the fund.
Thank you.
Thank you. So can I have a motion to close the session?
Motion to close public?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. May I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt ordinance 22-55.
Second?
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted.
Ordinance 22-56, capital ordinance providing for the acquisition of a Polaris Ranger and appropriating $25,000 therefore authorized in and by the Township of Howell in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey. I would like to open this for public comment. Seeing no comment, I would like a motion to close.
Motion to close public?
May I have a second? Second.
All in favor?
Aye. May I have a motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance O-22-56.
Second?
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted.
Ordinance 22-57, capital ordinance providing for the acquisition of various equipment and improvements and appropriating $350,000, therefore authorized in and by the Township of Howell in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey. I would like to open for public comment. Seeing none, I will close. May I have a motion to close public comment?
Make a motion to close public comment?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt 2257?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance O-22-57.
Second?
I'll second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted.
Ordinance 22-58, capital ordinance providing for the acquisition of various equipment and appropriating $425,000, therefore authorized in and by the Township of Howell in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey. I would like to open for public comment. Seeing none, I'd like an ordinance to close.
Motion to close public?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. May I have a motion to adopt 2258?
I'll make a motion to adopt 02258.
Second?
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted.
Ordinance 2259, capital ordinance providing for the acquisition of replacement trucks and sewer improvements and appropriating $230,000, therefore authorized in and by the Township of Howell in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey. I would like to open for public comment. Seeing none, may I have a motion to close public?
I'll make a motion to close public comment?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 22-59?
Motion to adopt ordinance 22-59.
Second.
Thank you.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted.
Ordinance 22-60, bond ordinance providing for the township's 2022 road improvement program, appropriating $2.2 million, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $2,090,000 bonds and notes to finance a portion of the costs thereof authorized in and by the Township of Howell in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey. I would like to open for public comment.
Tina Smilek, 33 Charles Street. What roads is this for?
We're going down our list right now to determine what's going to be included in this particular capital project. I mean, asphalt's at an all-time high, so a lot of what we're looking at, we're not, we're going to be paving half the number of mileage of roads, so we're going to look for the very worst roads this year, try and get them working. We have Burgerville Road that needs emergency repairs on it, so that's definitely going to happen. And then a lot of it may end up going into patching and that while we wait for asphalt prices to come down, so we get a lot more bang for our buck then.
Okay, so this is just like an open blanket PO?
Yeah, and a lot of it's going to depend, like I said, hopefully as soon as, like asphalt's 800 a ton, if it starts coming down, we're going to be able to do a lot more with it, so we may just take a wait and see approach and try and give everybody more
Are there
bang.
any more water projects that we can follow behind? Because that would seem like a very cost benefit.
I don't know off the top of my head, may.
New Jersey American Water doesn't tell us right away. I mean, they'll let us know soon, and hopefully we'll get some more curb to curb for that.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, are we doing capital different? Like, wasn't there used to be a list and we just approved the whole list and then?
Well, the first ordinances, so if you go from, let me see, 2256, 57, 58, 59 are all coming out of various trust funds.
Oh, so you're,
Right, so it's not traditional capital. These are
bonds.
being funded by a dedicated source. Because we're kind of keeping it, like I said, to a dull roar on the paving
I
this
just like
year.
keeping the agenda short.
What's that?
I like keeping the agenda short.
Oh, yeah, no,
Makes it longer.
especially ordinance, I get it.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, uh-huh.
We're also looking to, as far as our vehicle acquisition, we are working with multiple financial institutions to work on lease purchase agreements. So we'll have that going for this year, and we will work with the County Improvement Authority for next year as well.
I know we have vehicles every 2 years for the police, that's still
Yes.
in that, okay.
Hey, Joe, I know, like you mentioned Burgerville Road, I drive down there often, I see it's falling right into the creek there. So I've seen that road's failing.
Yeah.
Do we have an estimate on the cost of that road alone?
Back of the envelope, don't hold me to it, $300,000 to $400,000, because the deck is being undermined by water.
The railings.
I'll have more details, but we're looking to, we own some right away there, and we're looking to maybe move the road over while we do the repairs.
Gotcha.
It's one of the things that I can speak for that road keeps us all up at night, and we're just gonna tackle it. Can't
Okay.
wait anymore.
So maybe we do, of course, we start there, but then maybe even you touched on the senior parking lot or something like that.
Yeah, I think we may actually have headroom under some of our existing projects for that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that would be great. We'll just redeploy it for that. I mean, we're all looking forward to getting the railing and doing the
Yes.
ribbon cutting. Barbara's already, she wants the first walk up the steps, so done.
Thank you.
Did we vote?
No, we need a motion to close public comment.
May I
Motion to
have,
close?
may I have a second?
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. May I have a motion to adopt 22-60?
Motion to adopt ordinance 22-60.
Second?
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted.
Should have yelled yes, but anyway.
Ordinance 22-61, an ordinance of Howell Township authorizing the acceptance by the township of a donation of certain shouldn't that be real estate property?
It's a legal term of art. We call
Okay.
it.
Real
It's one of
property
those stupid lawyer
designated
things.
as tax block 25, lot 41.01. I'd like to open for public comment.
Steve Morlino, Peachstone Road. I just want to reiterate, this property was donated once in the past, okay? There were resolutions. It was passed. It was accepted by the town council at the time. How it's being redonated, the same property, not in its entirety, okay? This is only a piece of it. The entire project was donated, was supposed to become open space. Somewhere it fell through the cracks. So I hope this part of the project is somehow documented and put into perpetuity so it doesn't happen again. Because I still think there's going to be lawsuits, okay? The developer at the time took an IRS tax deduction for his donation. Someone needs to look into that. Thank you much.
And just to comment on that, I am working on the finalization for all of the title work, and we're going to record this donation, so it will be a public record and at county recording. So nobody else can donate or say it wasn't donated. It'll be officially the township's.
But how does that happen, though? How could it get donated twice?
It didn't. So it was a contingent donation, and it was contingent on it hitting a certain appraised value that it never hit. So the donation itself, the contingency failed. It's documented in our file, so.
I can represent the title work doesn't have any history of donation. The township doesn't own it, so now they will.
May I have a motion to close public?
Motion to close public.
Second? Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt ordinance 22-61.
Second?
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
No.
The ordinance is adopted.
Ordinance 22-62. An ordinance of the Township of Howell amending Chapter 139, Article 5, Section 6, Special Service Charges, and Section 12, Miscellaneous Police Fees and Oprah Fees of the Township Code. I would like to open 22-62 for public comment. Seeing none, may I have a motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. May I have a motion to adopt 22-62?
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance O-22-62.
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted.
We have an introduction of ordinances. 0-22-63. Capital ordinance providing for the acquisition of an easement to permanently protect land located in the vicinity of Naval Weapons Station Earl and appropriating $60,720, therefore authorized in and by the Township of Howell in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey. May I have a motion to introduce?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance O-22-63.
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
This ordinance passes on first reading.
Ordinance 22-64, bond ordinance providing for various improvements to the township's communications infrastructure for the benefit of the township, the borough of Farmingdale, and the several fire districts within the township, appropriating $4,160,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $4,160,000 bonds and notes to finance a portion of the costs thereof authorized in and by the Township of Howell in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey, and amending ordinance 0-21-19.
Motion to adopt ordinance 22-64.
To introduce.
Oh, to introduce. Introduce, I'm sorry.
Second?
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
This ordinance passes on first reading.
Between, you mean 65 and 71? You could do that.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
Okay, so, Mayor, I'm going to hand it over to Caitlin Harney very quickly. She's going to give an explanation to everybody of what O2264 and O2265 are accomplishing, because I know there's a lot of money involved, and I know that there's been a lot of talk about this particular project in town, so I want her to give everybody an idea of what we're doing here with it tonight, and when it'll be up for adoption, and what the other sort of features of this particular project are. So.
Right, and this also has connections to Resolution 22-321 that was voted upon earlier tonight. What's happening right now is that the township is working with the various fire districts to undertake a joint capital project to build a completely new radio infrastructure for the township, as well as update the police department's CAD system. So the project's going to be approximately $5.87 million is the estimated cost for both the radio infrastructure portion as well as the CAD update. What's happening is that the township has a portion of these costs, and each of the individual fire districts are also responsible for a portion of the costs. The Borough of Farmingdale is going to be benefiting by this system as well, and we are going to be asking Farmingdale to enter into a shared service agreement for the township to cover the costs of their radio equipment. You might see on the township website, maybe local newspapers, that the 5 different fire districts have made an announcement for a referendum on October 29th. Each of the districts are requesting to borrow a certain amount of funds to contribute to this project. So the township is also bonding, and the fire districts are bonding, all towards the goal of one large radio system structure for all of the first responders within the town. Each of the districts' portions are based upon the equipment that they are obtaining, and we're making a joint application to the local finance board to cover these costs. We expect that the joint application is filed this week. Depending upon when the local finance board hears the application, we expect it'll be sometime in November or December, and it will be highly dependent upon the outcome of the referendum votes. The individual fire districts, just so everybody understands the breakdown of the costs, approximately $5 million of the costs are going towards the radio equipment and infrastructure that's going to be built with it, including the construction of a 150-foot tower out near Adelphia's fire department. That location was chosen so it wouldn't disrupt residents while still being able to provide coverage, radio coverage for the entire town. Also included in that $5 million costs are the costs of radio equipment as well as shelters for the radio equipment. About $1 million of the system is going towards the CAD system. That will be primarily used by the township's police department, but by also the various fire districts. Again, those costs are spread out based upon the professionals' estimations of costs and the various equipments that each of the fire districts are obtaining. Overall, the township is going to be responsible for about $1.8 million of this overall cost. The township has already bonded through a Monmouth County Improvement Authority bond about $1.6 million. So there's two bond ordinances being introduced tonight. One is going to be representing the fire district shares total, and one is going to be representing the township's gap portion between what it has already bonded through the County Improvement Authority versus what's left. And the total cost expected to come from the fire districts is approximately 4.16 million. The project, we've got prices from Motorola through state approved pricing. And we've had a tremendous amount of input from all of the fire districts on what is necessary and what is needed for our first responders. We've also had a lot of work done by our police department to provide us with the CAD system updates that are needed. We expect that if everything goes according to plan, that we would be able to start the project sometime in January, and it has a timeline of about 18 months to completion.
So I have a question because I have a question. So if I have a question, should we vote on it and then I ask the question, or?
I think, let's ask your question now, so you have
Yeah, is it on, what?
It's on the two ordinances. I want to put it on the record.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So we're bonding and spending this money because we've decided that we're not going to dispatch. Is that county dispatch? Is that a correct statement? I mean, after spending and
Yeah, as of
bonding for
right now, I
this-
mean, the point of all of this is to have the radio system as a standalone within the town, right? Yeah.
So then we're not going to be pushing that, correct?
No, I don't think
Yeah,
that
this
anybody
is
ever
the
really
state
was,
system.
but yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So
We can move on with the motion to approve?
do we have an open discussion, or?
Nope, first reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
Forgive. May I have a motion for 2265?
Motion to introduce ordinance 22-65.
Second?
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Thank you. This ordinance passes on first reading.
Ordinance 22-66, an ordinance amending Chapter 139 fees, Article 16, Housing Code, rental properties, subsection 29 and 29.1, entitled certificates and inspections, return checks, and rental housing fees of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Howell. May I have a motion to introduce 22-66?
I'll make a motion to introduce ordinance O-22-66.
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
This ordinance passes on first reading.
Ordinance 22-67, an ordinance of the Township of Howell, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, repealing and replacing Chapter 237 of the Township Code entitled Real Property Mortgage Registration. May I have a motion to introduce 22-67?
Motion to introduce 22-67.
Second.
Oh, good, that's fine.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Thank you. This ordinance passes on first reading.
Ordinance 22-68, an ordinance amending Chapter 178 Housing Code, rental property, Article 2, rental property, subsection 22, entitled inspections of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Howell. May I have a motion to introduce 22-68?
Motion to introduce ordinance 22-68.
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
This ordinance passes on first reading.
Ordinance 22-69, an ordinance of the Township of Howell supplementing Chapter 188, Article 10 zones, adding new section 188-79.2 entitled Special Economic Development 2 or SED 2 Zone. May I have a motion to introduce 22-69?
A motion to introduce 02269.
Second?
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Thank you. This ordinance passes on first reading.
Ordinance 22-70, ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 6, Section 36, Police Department, to permit the Howell Police Department to staff more lieutenants. May I have a motion to introduce 22-70?
Motion to introduce ordinance 22-70.
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
The ordinance passes on first reading.
Ordinance, so we added ordinance 22-71.
Correct.
Would you like to explain the ordinance?
Sure. Mr. Howard.
Because we added it.
So for our liquor licenses, the ordinance stipulates a distance requirement between sites that hold a liquor license. For the consumption use, which is your restaurants and bars, it's 1,000 feet if you're on opposite sides of a highway. Same side of the highway, 500 feet if you're on the opposite side of a highway. We're looking to reduce that in half for both, so 500 feet and 250. Also for the distribution, which is your liquor stores, it's 2,500 feet, which is a half mile. Seems like a long way. We're going to reduce that down to 1,500 feet.
Thank you.
Could be like Asbury and Earl next door to each other, you know?
Yes. Competition's good in some businesses.
So I would like to introduce ordinance number 22-71, an ordinance of the Township of Howell supplementing and amending Part 2, Article 1, subsection 53-9 of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Howell. May I have a motion?
Motion to introduce 02271.
Second.
Councilman Bonovich?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman O'Donnell?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Richmond?
Yes.
Mayor Berger?
Yes.
Thank you. This ordinance passes on first reading.
Thank you. I have two questions. One, going back, if we could, to the archery. The question I had was, is there going to be something regarding ages and supervision of, let's say a minor might be very able to shoot, but would there be specific guidelines that they can't be there by themselves?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and the answer is right now, we haven't gotten that far with it, but yeah, I would envision that being a requirement. I might require a sign-up list so that we know who's going to use it at any particular time. I'm sure that the JIF is going to overlay some, liability-based type requirements as well. Yeah, so yes, I would like to see this up and running and see it be a success, and I think everybody on council would. So yeah, if we have to put in some rules that really make it that way, that's fine. Yeah.
Thank you. The other thing is, I just wanted to reiterate again, October 29th for the referendum. So everybody who can hear me or who's paying any attention to the meeting, please go out and vote. You're talking about a lot of money that the fire departments are needing and wanting to spend, so that's your tax dollars, so you should be out there voting. So I wanted to reiterate that. Now I would like to go back to Mr. Howard, and if you would please give us your updates.
Sure.
And thank you for waiting.
Some of the items we touched on in the agenda, so I'll go through those quick. In the consent agenda, we did have the outdoor dining and entertainment extension, so that passed. That is now up for 2 more years, November 2024. We did end the temporary signage allowance, so code enforcement will go out. We'll start talking to the property owners by the end of the year. We'll look for compliance, but we're not going to hit them hard. We're going to talk with them, bring it back to our, for the banners, wind flags, things like that, bring it back to the ordinance standards. We did introduce the vacant and abandoned property ordinance. That's the replacement of Chapter 237. That's going to give code enforcement the opportunity to require vacant, abandoned commercial and residential properties to register. There are strict fines for not registering. We can issue violations for property maintenance. They have to notify, put signs up. We also give them an opportunity to get a discount on the registration if they let the Fire Bureau do an inspection, which will allow them to identify hazards. God forbid one of those structures goes up in flames, Fire Bureau will know, and the first responders will know that there's hazards inside. So it's a service that I worked with Fire Bureau on to incorporate into the ordinance. One of the other ordinances was we had 2 for lead paint inspections. We're going to start in the new year. Law passed over the summer. We have to start doing it. Our housing group through code enforcement, any property that has a structure older than 1978, we have to do a lead-based paint inspection, issue a certification if it's good. We upped our fees, or we're looking to up the fees because we need to pay for the time and effort and the liability, and also some fees have to go to the state. Also, one of the ordinances was just establishing the requirement for those inspections based on the state law. So we could talk about that more next meeting. We're looking to upgrade our open space preserved property website. We've working with one of our consultants to do what's called a GIS story, Geographic Information Systems. It's an interactive page. It's going to be able to have drone footage, maps, photographs. Everything's going to flow through in almost like a slideshow. We're going to put that up on our website once it's built. It's going to be a nice center point for the website for anything open space related. Also, you're going to start seeing some signs go up on side of roads for some of our open space properties. We all know where our parks are. They're very well established. What people don't realize is that we have large tracts of land that's been preserved by the township, either through purchase, development, that we get the large pieces of land. So these signs are going to pop up in areas that you usually just see trees on the side of the road. Some of them are hundreds of acres large. So we just want to highlight that, so when you're driving through Howell, you see that there's a lot of preserved land out there, not just our parks. With all of our master plan changes, I did a new zoning map that's up on our website. Our previous one had hyperlinks embedded in the map, so you could click on different zones and different titles, and it would bring up a summary table, the permitted uses, the bulk standards. It was actually a comment that came out of the Business Recovery Task Force at the beginning of COVID. We've gotten some compliments, so unfortunately, when you replace the map, you have to redo the hyperlinks, but we're working on that in the next week. That should be posted. It'll be interactive, so you can see all of that. We touched on it earlier, that we're working with some developers. In our code, there is an option for developers to plant trees as opposed to paying to the fund. We're doing it on a trial basis with one project, and we're working with Lisa Dowd and Shade Tree, coming up with some different sites to use the trees, maybe even do some pollinator gardens out of it, and looking for some out-of-the-box ways to plant some trees, maybe even some shade trees for people who want them planted back on their property. Last week, we had a meeting, Councilwoman O'Donnell, members of the Farmers Advisory Committee, and our township planner with the state to kick off a new look at our comprehensive farmland preservation element of the master plan. It is an element that to be eligible for grant funding that we receive every year through the PIG program, Planning Incentive Grant, we have to have an updated element every 10 years. Ours is 11 years old, so we're going to look at it. We're going to see if we can identify more target properties for farmland preservation. We passed a resolution a couple meetings ago. The state is going to cover half of our costs for looking at the plan. We have township planner looking at it. On October 27th, we have a meeting with the Farmers Advisory Committee, and we're going to kick off internally how we're going to go about the process, and we'll have public meetings in the future to get input from the public and start selecting sites to hopefully add to the master plan. We're also looking at working with a contractor to provide some lake treatments. So some of our surface water bodies we're having some issues with, especially with the drought during the summer this year. Even last year was a little bit drier. We're finding that towards the end of the season, we're having invasive vegetation take over some of our water bodies, algal blooms. We've actually had a couple residents last year come up and talk about it. So we're looking to work with a contractor to start some treatment processes, maybe improve the water quality, well, seeking definitely to improve the water quality and year-round, avoid those algal blooms and vegetation from kind of taking over. One thing that's a peeve of mine, and I think a lot of residents in town, are shopping carts that are left at bus stops, especially with the loss of the single-use bags. The shopping cart people like to take them, get on the bus, and then they go. We've put just about every violator that's out there on notice, and we've told them, you guys really got to, it takes 5 minutes to send an employee out to the bus stop. Go get your shopping carts. We've given them pretty much a 48-hour notice, And what we've started to do is we're just having DPW pick up the shopping carts and impound them. So we're taking them over to DPW. When they contact us to go pick them up, we say thank you very much. We hand them a summons. That summons is going to get larger and larger every time. Usually those corporate entities don't like paying those fines, so we're hoping to get compliance that way. It's the only way we can get it cleaned up. If you give them 2 weeks and say we're going to come back, nothing gets done. So we're just going to start impounding them. Lake Louise, if you saw on our Facebook page, there was a ribbon cutting earlier this week, right? Or last week. And so the county instituted a project. The township worked with them. They partnered. It was a spillway replacement, roadway widening, sidewalk installation. If you've seen the pictures, it's a great improvement. It has opened the door for passive recreation because people can fish from the roadway. We've added a couple parking spots nearby, so you can park and fish and use the waterway. Big improvement from what it was. So that's a great project. And finally, especially with the passing of our capital ordinance, we're looking at some improvements in parks. I'll go into more details in the future when we develop some plans. We're looking at spreading the money throughout a variety of parks. So we're going to see things like kayak launches, a walking path, half-mile long walking path, basketball, pickleball courts, replacing a tennis court with something hopefully a lot nicer, and adding flowable fill to some of our playgrounds, which is the rubber play material versus mulch. It's a lot longer lasting, looks a lot nicer, so we're going to explore that. Some new playgrounds. Like I said, I'll have more details coming up, but those are just some of the projects we're looking at, and we're going to spread it around to every park in town. At the very minimum, parks are going to see benches, picnic tables, landscaping, tree planting, things like that at the very minimum. So that's everything.
Thank you. Do we have any other reports from our officials? No? No? Councilman Rodovich?
I just want to say, the last couple of meetings, thank you to all our professionals. I mean, I think this was the most well-rounded agenda I've ever seen. We went from telecommunications infrastructure to windows of the Echo Lake, kayaks, open space, patching, road repair, liquor licenses, putting up for sale. We purchased some trucks, abandoned property, and hockey rinks. I mean, that's a lot of work. So thank you. It's last couple of meetings been very productive.
I say for everybody, thank you, and I'll say it's a team effort. I mean, it's like a logjam cleared, and now there's just all kinds of stuff flowing out, and it's Matt, Paul, every department. The Alliance, we have a no smoking ordinance coming up soon. Just everybody has been pretty energized, so it's great.
Once again, thank you, guys.
Ditto. Councilwoman?
Quickly, I have to just reiterate, I mean, thank you, everybody. It's just been an amazing couple of months watching the progress for our town. Thank you to Mr. Clark, to Mr. Howard, to Mr. Novello, Mr. Palazzo, to Caitlin, everybody. Everyone's just working their tail off, and it's certainly appreciated, and I think most of all our residents are going to reap the benefits of all of your hard work, so thank you very, very much. I also just wanted to mention that October also happens to be Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I'm really thankful for organizations like 180 Turning Lives Around, who helps and supports the victims, and our police and our court in the past, and I'm sure that they still do, although it's a little different being on Zoom, but I'm always very proud of how our court and our police department handles the victims of domestic violence. They take it very, very seriously, and they really look out for the best interests of those victims to try to get them the help and support that they need. So I was very happy to see our partnership through the court with 180 and other organizations. I also just wanted to mention all of the great things or some of the great things that I had an opportunity to go to in the last couple of weeks. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the PVA Oktoberfest. What a fantastic event. Tons of people there just having a great time. And so thank you to our PVA for throwing just their annual event that just knocks it out of the park. So thank you. And that cricket match, that was quite an incredible thing. I mean, how proud am I to say that Howell now has cricket. It's just an amazing opportunity for just another sport to come to Howell and to support our businesses. And they couldn't have been more gracious and more excited to be here. So I think it's a really strong partnership that I think is going to grow into the future. I also do want to mention, when I was at the Howell Alliance meeting today, that we mentioned that the DEA National Take Back Day is on October 29th, and there will be an opportunity for residents to bring by and dispose of properly their unused medications from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Howell Police Department. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the correct date and time. I always want to give a shout out to Brookdale because it is our community college, and there is an open house on Sunday, this Sunday, October 23rd, from 1 to 4 p.m. Please go out and see our beautiful campus. We are so lucky in Monmouth County to have that available to us. Discover, an opportunity to discover your path to achieve, because everything that you could possibly imagine is right there at Brookdale. So I implore anyone who has any interest to stop by from 1 to 4 at their open house. Also, take advantage of Brookdale's Culinary Education Center. Their restaurant and bakery is open this fall for lunches and for dinners. I personally went and had their 6-course tasting menu dinner. Phenomenal. So hit up the Brookdale website and get more information on all of that. As Mr. Clark mentioned before, I'm really excited to do a morning of coffee and kindness. It's one of my personal passions, is painting rocks with kind messages on them, as crazy as it sounds. So I'm hoping to have community residents help me to create such a thing so that we can create a kindness rock garden in the front of our own very town hall, so that as people and residents walk in, they can be inspired by just a simple word of kindness to either take with them or to bring along and to leave behind for others to enjoy. Anything else? I would also, I can't let it go, regarding our deputy mayor. She has worked incredibly hard for our community. She has served our community, and she has helped individuals, she has helped businesses, she has helped anyone who ever has knocked on her door or called her on the phone to say, hey, can you give me a hand? She's the first one to lend a hand. So I just implore everyone to remember that there's two sides and that she deserves the benefit of the doubt. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
Yes, I did want to thank Mr. Clark and the others that put together that cricket opportunity in Warp Speed. I think it was about 1 month, and you had this ready to roll out. And that was an amazement, because I know that when the group came to you, you were receptive immediately, and I know a month's time is really difficult to roll something out, but you did it with an unbelievable amount of flair. Secondly, the Howell Historical and Heritage Society needs to put a new roof on their school building. The president of the club, Bob, is always looking for donations. This is coming at a time when we didn't really think that this was going to happen now. We were trying to concentrate on the Mackenzie building. The focus has changed to the school building in an effort to keep it. So anyone that would wish to make some kind of a financial donation, I ask you to do so as quickly as possible. This roof is being tarped until such time as the shingles can be done. Thirdly, I don't have to say how many things are going on with administration, so a simple thank you just doesn't really seem to be enough, but thank you. And importantly also is the commentary that was made tonight. I don't know the sides of all the stories, so I'm not going to comment on it. I wasn't there, I didn't see a video, so I'm not going to rush to a judgment, and I would urge my fellow council members not to do the same either. I want to thank everybody for their patience tonight. I know it's been a long evening, but don't forget the Halloween decorating contest is in full swing, and Halloween this year is going to be really super. So I urge everybody to take advantage of trunk or treat and the other things that Mr. Clark had mentioned. COVID is not perhaps over, but this town is trying to come back to life and give all of the residents some of the many things that we've missed, but more importantly, things that we haven't done, but they're certainly on the horizon. So again, I thank you.
Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. I'm going to just really quick, I know we've all cricketed out, right? But the people over at the cricket tournament, they were amazing, respectful, so thankful. So on behalf of the mayor and council, they presented us with a plaque. Actually, they gave us two, Paul Novello hung one up over there, and it just says, "Thank you, Howell Township, for your support and partnership to make cricket fun here in New Jersey." Joe Clark is going to start up a senior cricket league, if anybody wants to sign up. So we have that. That was amazing.
We'll be
Thank you for that.
practicing.
Fire Prevention Week, 100th anniversary. Please make sure you read. We're posting a lot of good stuff on safety, education, and a lot of good stuff about fire prevention. So make sure everybody checks that out and has a plan. The car show, Farmingdale Car Show, is this Saturday, the 22nd in Farmingdale. Again, we've been putting out a lot of information. Make sure you like the Howell Township page. That gives you good, real information. Clean Communities, also this Saturday. It's a very busy Saturday. Hopefully the weather is like it was last week. The holiday giveaway, Adopt a Family also. Stephen's been putting out some good stuff as far as that goes. One more thing too, and I'm not going to grandstand like everybody else, so I'm just going to just remind everybody that the PAL is here, and they do really good stuff. So I would be remiss if I did not mention that amazing PAL event on Thursday. I was there. I saw firsthand what Chris Hill and his people do for our children here in Howell. We have a great partnership, the mayor and council and our professionals and our PBA. Amazing, amazing time. And if you don't know what they do, you need to really look at their website, look at the stuff that Chris Hill puts forth for these children. When I'm done serving up here and serving the community, that's my next mission, is to work with Chris Hill, because he's amazing. I want to be like him when I grow up. So Chris Hill, thank you for everything he does, and please support our PAL and our children, and of course our wonderful PBA. Thank you, and thank you for our professionals for your amazing job tonight. I'll make a motion to end the meeting.
Just give me one second
sure.
to finish the information here, no worries. The next meeting is on Tuesday, November 1st, 2022, executive at 6 and regular session at 7. I also want to remind everybody, Halloween's coming up, happy Halloween. And to reiterate from the rest of the council, this has been one of the most enjoyable meetings, work-wise, that I've been to in a very long time. Very exciting, and thank you very much. Much appreciated, very much appreciated. Big change. So at this point, I would like a motion to end the meeting.
I'll make a motion to end the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.